Deconstructed non-Christians at freed our mind at last.
Welcome back to another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. I am your host, Mercy. And today I want to get off into a few videos of this new trend on TikTok of people deconstructing Christianity, deconstructing religion. And I really want to get to the bottom of their disdain. So, with that being said, let's review what these people are doing in these videos, along with a young woman being upset because she was invited to church. And remember, sippers, sippets, whatever in your cup. Remember, pour your own problems. I can't do it for you.
Hey, boss, he ain't working.
What's up, y'all? It's the Queen, it's the girl Ashley K, and I just want to talk about how and why I deconstructed from Christianity. So a lot of people have been taking that as me saying that I don't believe in God. I don't know where y'all get that from. I'm honestly in my early stages of deconstructing. I actually just accepted the fact that I'm not Christian, that I don't believe that whole Bible. I don't believe I don't believe they telling me. And I'm just going to tell you guys a couple of reasons why I don't believe the full Bible. I'm definitely not Christian. And I'm deconstructed as a motherfucker. And I feel free. I feel good as fuck. I never felt better. Okay, so for one, let's be real. Like this gonna deconstruct it first, all. And if you don't deconstruct it for you literally just want to believe it. And that's good for you. Let me give y'all a disclaimer. Y'all journeys are personal. Everybody's journey is personal. And you can believe whatever you want to believe, okay? Whatever gets you through, whatever helps you in life, whatever you're able to manifest the strongest through, and whatever you're able to get the best result out of, go for it, baby. Because what's for you is for you, but it ain't for me, boo. But reason number one, God created Eve from Adam's rib. Reason number two, God placed Adam and Eve in a garden full of fruit and trees and placed a tree in the middle of the garden right next to the tree of life and told them don't eat from it. But that tree was of the knowledge of good and evil, which means they didn't have any knowledge of good and evil. So they wouldn't know if it would be evil to eat from the tree or not. They know they were told not to, but at the end of the day, he also put that snake in the garden. Yeah, he also created that snake. He also allowed the devil to enter to the snake and talk to Eve and Adam. And talk to Eve and get the fruit. Get her to eat the fruit. Like, maybe he set them up. He literally set them up. And then he cursed them for cursed all of humanity, actually. All of us are paying the price for eating a fruit. And some Christians, they really crack me up because they be like, oh, when I get to heaven, when I see Eve, I'm gonna put Eve ain't do shit. You should be talking to your God. You should be talking to your God. He set Eve up. Eve, poor innocent Eve. He set all of us up. If that's the God y'all going according to, that's all I'm saying. And really that alone, because I don't have much time and I really got to get to work, we're going to go into a deeper dive later, but really that alone is a big thing. And then also the fact that people can go to hell and God is omniscient, all-knowing, and omnipresent. And he's all loving. He's all loving. He loves us unconditionally. Even the ones he sends to hell, he loves them unconditionally. And it says that he cries in the Bible. It says something about Jesus cries. His heart hurts for the ones that go to hell. Aren't you God? Aren't you all powerful? Say them.
We perish for the lack of knowledge, people. And God gives us a choice, bottom line. We all have choices. And whether they're good or bad, those choices have consequences. But we perish for the lack of knowledge. And her reasons are not credible. And she seems to be very, very misguided. But let's keep it going.
A big part of my deconstruction was realizing that we hold human beings to higher standards than God. Because I would ask myself when I was questioning the character of God, would I ever want to be in a relationship with someone that condoned the killing of their own son? Would I ever want to be in a relationship with somebody that was like, I love you so much, and you can choose. You can choose if you want to love me back, but if you choose no, then I will punish you for the rest of your life and beyond. Asking myself, would I ever want to be intimate friends or close with someone who tested and trialed my loyalty to them, right? Or allowed somebody else, like Satan, to test and trial me? Or seemed kind of like hypocritical, right? Like gave commandments of don't kill. But it's okay when I do it. There's exceptions. And the way I used to answer that, or the way that other Christians answer that, is like, well, he's God. He can do what he wants. He made you so he can destroy you. Okay? Yeah. I'm not talking about if he can or not. I'm talking about, would you want to be in a close, intimate relationship with somebody like that? Somebody who's like, the only way to make this right is murder. But it's not murder if I do it. It's a sacrifice. A blood sacrifice. I do love you so much, but I do need you to change entirely. No. You'd call that abusive, controlling, manipulative. So why are humans held to a higher standard than God? How in the world am I meant to build up enough trust and like, it's not a religion, it's a relationship kind of vibe with a God that seems chaotic and unpredictable? It's not about whether he can or can't. I get that if he's the creator, he can squash me like clay. But would you not be weary of an artist that made a bunch of beautiful vases and then just smashed them all? Sure, they can do that, but would you want to be like, yeah, that's a cool person. I like
And
that.
see,
I feel good around that.
I think the biggest problem is trying to understand God and trying to put him into a person, a human being like us. He is not a human being, right? He's the creator. He made a sacrifice so that we can have everlasting life. You know, people like to talk about being humanitarian and things of that nature, but then you're going to skip over the fact that God is the ultimate humanitarian, right? I think that because it sounds like hurt and frustration. And I've heard this a lot over the years, like, people get hurt and they'll be frustrated at God of why this happened. But God didn't say that we wouldn't suffer on this earth. We're gonna have times when we suffer, right? We're gonna have those moments. And I think people get it misconstrued in the fact that he's God and he's all knowing, so we shouldn't have pain, we shouldn't have that is not the case. He never promised that we wouldn't suffer, that we wouldn't go through trials and tribulations. He never promised that. I mean, like I hope people understand you can be blessed and still have sufferings, right? We walking around with we're not walking around unblemished in this life. And she said, would I trust somebody or have a relationship with somebody that is like that? But many of us, including herself, is in a either in a relationship, friendship, or even have family members that do the same thing. So why God cannot hold us to a standard? We'll let people in our relationships hold us to a standard. We'll let our jobs hold us to a standard. We'll even let society hold us to a standard. Some form of standard, right? But you're saying with God, God can't hold me to a standard. Come on. I swear, people, like, I'm gonna get to it. But let's play this last video of this young lady who was upset because she got invited to church. But let's review.
I went to Sam's Club today. I don't generally go to Sam's Club, different story. I went to Sam's Club today. And this lady asked me to look at a price for some tissue or something like that. She couldn't see, you know, I'm a little linky ting. So I looked up, I gave her the price of the toilet paper. And I guess that little interaction, she enjoyed it. And she asked me like, you know, to come to her church. And in that moment, I didn't know what to say. But I felt something, like I felt away. So I asked her like, okay, well, like, what's the name of the church? I'll look it up. She was like, yeah, we have services on Sundays, on Fridays, on Wednesdays, on Saturdays. I'm like, okay, I'll look it up. I think it pains me to know that there are so many people who don't understand how much harm is in the church house. I think it truly bothers me how many people are so unaware, like either willfully ignorant or just ignorant of the impact of how y'all have been perpetuating these Eurocentric interpretations of this theology. And y'all know me as Chaplain of Culture. Like, y'all know I went to Yale. I got my master's in divinity. Y'all know I'm online deconstructing harmful theology. Y'all know that. But in
They gotta
Sam's
do
Club,
with
I was a
anything.
civilian. Nobody knows none of that. And I'm not going to like wag my finger at this lady
But you're pretty much doing that.
because she doesn't know and she's older. But I did realize something. I realized that you can't just be inviting people to church, not without caveats, not without, do you want to join me at my place of worship where we are pro LGBTQIA, where we are actively uncovering the impacts of like anti-blackness and how it presents itself in societies where we look at love as a social justice ethic. That's what I'm gonna need. I need a church that come with a resume, and even still probably
So
not. I went to.
you were upset that somebody had the audacity to invite you to church because in the moment you were being a blessing to her by helping her in the store. So she felt compelled to ask you to be a spokesman, to be a disciple of Christ and invite you to church, right? And you take that as a slight or disrespect, I promise you, I swear, people, it's either one or two things. Like, people are hurt, people are confused, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like most people just want to do what they want to do. It's mighty funny that y'all don't require all these things from your job, from society in general, and from your relationships, from your man, from your woman, right? But then you got all these stipulations on why you can't go to church, why you don't want to go to church, why you hate the church, why you don't like this about the church. You got all these stipulations, right? But then you're upset with God. You're upset with the church. I think it's a bunch of crap, if you ask me. I think people ultimately just want to do what they want to do and don't want to think about the consequences. They don't want to be in the fear of of their consequences and actions. They rather have a clear mind, a clear slate of no conviction. And like we like I was listening to someone talk today, and it's pretty scary to think about when people don't have a fear of a consequence. I mean, we see it today in our judicial system. You know, whether people are flash mobbing, breaking into these stores, or criminals are getting slaps on the wrist. And so I kind of compare that to this situation in the aspect of people like in our criminal system. Criminals are doing what they want to do simply because of the rule of law in certain cities and states, and they know it's no consequence to their actions. In the same breath, people aren't fearful of God, of the Lord. And I'm not saying you should be in a way of being afraid of him to not understand him and know him for yourself, but rather they don't want to be judged. And the bottom line is, regardless if you're religious, regardless if you're Christian, regardless of whatever your religion may be or not be, you're going to be judged in this life. You're going to be judged in this world. So I think people really got to get that out of their mind. Like, you're not going to be judged in this life, regardless of what you believe and don't believe. But this deconstructing of Christianity, I think, is really just a bunch of crock. I think people just really want to have an excuse of why they want to do ultimately what they want to do. Like in those, and then when as I was reviewing several videos, they never talked about the word. They never talked about what actually happened to them, you know, because I believe a lot of people end up getting church hurt, as they like to call it, right? And believe it or not, I've been church hurt, but that has nothing to do with the word of God, because people hurt people. And I had to learn that a long time ago. Do I think that the way that sometimes things happen in church, does that make a good reflection on Christians? No. But we also have to realize that people are human beings, and people are going to make mistakes. People are going to fail, and no one is above reproach, right? And so I think that people, instead of focusing on a relationship with God, they're so focused on the relationships of people. God is God. The word is going to be the word. And at the end of the day, all because someone has hurt you or someone has misled you or misinterpreted what the word is, doesn't mean that the word is not real and the word is not facts. The word is not the truth. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't negate that the word is the truth. We're never going to erase human fault, right? Because we're all sinners at the end of the day. But that that never negates the word. And that's one thing that I didn't hear none of these women even really discuss. They never brung up the word. They only brung up their feelings and how they felt and what they believed, but never the word. So we got to watch out for that. But sippers, y'all tell me how y'all feel in the comments. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's your boy Mercy. I'm out.